Yes, boys, back again with another trading video. Managed to catch a nice short today. Had to change my bias throughout the trading day. So I was originally in a long position, got stopped out break even, then went into the short and caught a nice trade. So very happy with that. So I'm going to take you into it now. On the daily graph then, what can you see? Ignoring all of this here, because this is the stuff I had marked out. We had this massive imbalance here on the daily, so that daily fair value gap. So I was looking to catch a reversal, basically from this previous day's low. However, like always, I always mark out any gaps in the market, any imbalances. So we had this end dog here, and we had this new week opening gap here, which hadn't actually been tapped into apart from here. So it was very much open. This was a point where I thought price could potentially gravitate towards. And then we also had this regular trading hours high and the low. So massive gap in the market, which hasn't been filled. You can see hadn't been filled on the previous day. So that was left open. So for me, there was always a possibility price could go here, even though I was bullish on the day. With that in mind then, going into the first trade, so I didn't mark out midnight opening price. For that reason is we were consolidating, so there was no true direction. And this is why I was open to the short. There wasn't a true direction in the market during the previous sessions. So for me, it was very much, where's the drawn liquidity in the short term? Instead of doing that, what I did mark out was the 8.30 opening price. This is where you look for price to manipulate across the market open. So we had the 8.30 here. So what was I looking for then? So start of the day, wanted to chase this previous day's low as my reversal point here. And because we had that drop down here, I saw this as manipulation to go higher and chase these highs up there. However, that didn't actually happen. So as I said, the market's been consolidating. For me, this probably wasn't the true manipulation. Price could come lower. And because we had these gaps in the market, that was a big draw on liquidity for me, which is why I highlighted them before my trading session. But I did like this long setup. We obviously had this inversion fair value gap here, very strong. Didn't fill that. Left a breakaway gap here. So what did I do? I entered on the next PD array here, which was the order block for me. So I entered on this order block there. A little fair value gap here. So I knew that price would tap into this order block, which is underneath a fair value gap, and I was up. You can see I was up here, but we didn't manage to capitalize on that. We created SMT divergence with VS, which is why I put my stop to break even, because ideally I want to see price surge above here if we truly are bullish. And then we also had this end dog, which is a big reversal point. This is always used as a reversal point for me. So pairing SMT divergence with the time, which was 9:55. With the end dog, for me, set up a valid setup. And then as soon as we got that displacement, so I obviously got stopped out the trade here, so I had to change my bias, because to me, we weren't breaking above this end dog. You can see on the hourly here, look at the hourly candles. We obviously got that lower low here, the higher low, and then a lower low. So it was that swing sequence. So that's why I did actually like the short on this. So we put in that intermediate term high here, and you can quite clearly see, so on the 5 minute, I was looking for that change in the state of delivery here. So I was pretty confident we would surge high after this manipulation, and we obviously filled this imbalance. But I had to be open to the fact that there's no high impact news, so price will be drawn to any gaps in the market. Didn't get that displacement above this end dog, so I then looked for the reversal. And this is where I got it. So like I said, SMT divergence with the end dog, putting that lower high here. Had this gap there, so for me that was the first rejection here when we obviously filled this imbalance here, rejected the end dog again. And then we had that displacement. So then it was just about waiting for the entry, entering off the next fair value gap. I like the displacement. I think we've generated two lows here. And then we obviously have the gap in the market as well as the end block. So there's plenty of points here the market can gravitate towards. So because we left this gap here, I wasn't expecting that to be filled in. So that is why I didn't actually wait for this, because we did actually have divergence again with VS with this gap here. So it's very important to look for. Definitely when you're looking for that first entry, is it going to leave a gap filled or not? And we left that unfilled. So I entered on this fair value gap here, put my stop loss above this breakaway gap, very important, because I'm not expecting price to go back up there. So specifically that candle high there of that swing sequence. And then as soon as price rejected here, it rolled over, and pretty much as soon as we got that change in the sale and delivery, and we've created this order block here, as well as creating this fair value gap, which was another presented fair value gap, you know that price is going to roll over. And that's what happened. You can see it just locked on to fill this gap. Filled it partially here, tapped into the midpoint of the MWOG, came back up, retraced, and then it filled the entirety of it. And you can see the strength, how it just continuously uses it as support and resistance. So very important when you got a gap which hasn't been filled in the market. And in terms of my trade, I made $1,000 on it. So I actually lost 2 trades in the previous week. So I lost 2 for $250, and then I made $1,000 on this. So I'm now up 500. So quite happy with that. So not bad, decent start on this account. Would like to continue the momentum into the rest of the week now, but very happy with how it's going. And I'm following my plan, which is the main thing. Even though I could probably be a little bit more consistent, stop taking a few shit trades, things are starting to look up, and I'm starting to make some consistent profits now, which is really good. But as soon as this point was hit, you can see the target for the day was done. There's nothing more to be said, and then that's where it took us in. So it's taken us into the close here. Obviously, price is situated in this MWOG at the minute, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. We have left all of these highs there, so I do expect these to be taken out. I just thought there was a big chance that price would want to fill this gap and tap into this MWOG today. I thought that was a strong point of liquidity, and I was proven to be right. So that's the end of the recap from me today. Just a quick one. Just wanted to basically say this is why I should be changing the bias. If price isn't going to push above these highs, then it's more likely that you should be looking for a reversal in the opposite direction. So you got to be willing to change your narrative going into the day, if that makes sense, just to make sure you're not leaving much on the table. And that's why it's important to mark out liquidity on both sides of the market, even though I was bullish going into the trading day.